So you're thinking about getting into motocamping, and you do what all of us do, and you go on YouTube to try to find reviews, tips, tricks, all that sort of thing, and then you're completely inundated with a bunch of actual experts and people claiming to be experts telling you what to buy, not to buy, not to overpack, not to underpack, underprepare, overprepare, all that stuff. And it can get confusing, and it can get a little daunting to get started. So in today's video, I'm not going to tell you to buy anything. There's not going to be any links down below. I'm just going to give you some tools to help you kind of parse out all the information that's out there so you can make informed decisions about the kind of camping that you want to do. Motocamping is awesome. I want more people to do it. If we can lower the barrier to entry, all that better for it. Let's get into it. All right, like I said, there's no affiliate links, no product links down below in this video today. There are, of course, the caveat to that being all of my usual stuff, my daily gear, merch, things like that. If you want to support, that is one way you can do it. Biggest way you can support is just by sharing, liking, commenting on this video. If it's helpful for you, that'd be appreciated. If you're not already subscribed, I know we say this a lot, and it's hard not to, but those things really do help, and it means a lot to me. I appreciate it. So in this bag is my entire camping kit, excluding these two. I haven't found a place for this. Inside there is everything I need to sleep off the bike for a couple of nights. That includes shelter, sleeping system, and comfort items. So let's break this thing open. I'll show you what I got in here, and then we'll go over each of those three categories. First thing you should be looking at is shelter. Now, there's really a bunch of different types of camping shelters, but there's two that are going to be applicable in the kind of camping that we're going to be doing. That is tents and hammocks. I'm going to steer you clear of hammocks. They're great in the summer. There's a lot of airflow to pull heat off. They're comfortable, but a lot of campgrounds won't let you tie off or don't have places to tie off. So it's going to be really difficult, and it's a crapshoot. So I'll steer you towards tents. Now, as far as tents are concerned, there's a lot of brands. You can even go for the Amazon specials. It's not that big a deal. I went through a couple of them and found one that I like, which is this Cedar Summit Tellus 2 freestanding tent. In the world of motorcycle camping, we're not really concerned about weight like backpackers are. What I'm concerned about is size, pack down size specifically. The smaller every piece is, the more of the luxury items that you can bring and comfort items that you can bring with you. The cheat code here throughout most of this stuff is going to be, look for, specifically it's called Bikepacking. Those tend to pack a lot smaller. And in fact, this Cedar Summit tent, which is a $600 tent, by the way, they have now released a bike packing version of it, which is packed down smaller. The thing about tents that you want to look at is freestanding. I typically would point people towards freestanding because you never know what the grounds are going to be like where you're camping at. If you have one that stands up on its own, which is what freestanding means, means you don't have to stake it out to hold it up. Means that if you're in places where it's hard to stake out, like you got rocks all over the place or whatnot, you don't have to worry about trying to tie it out to get your tent to pitch right. So I like freestanding tents. We're gonna get this thing put together, and then I'll show you some of the features that I look for before we get it all set up. I'm not gonna set up the ground sheet because I don't need to, but having a ground sheet for your tent just protects the bottom of it. It's real nice. This is the beauty of a freestanding tent and why it's called a freestanding tent. Now, it's not going to be as comfortable as staking it out, but in a pinch, you can do this. All right, so as you can see, freestanding tent. And it didn't take that long. I'll put how long that took to set up. All right, some things to look out for when you're shopping for a tent. In my personal opinion, you should look for something with a full Rainfly. Things can turn on you, and you can wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to an absolute downpour. So having protection from the elements is very important. Ask me how I know. The other thing is, there's like water ratings. I think they have like a floor rating. Just something, a bigger number better. It just means it's going to withstand more water over a longer period of time. The other thing to look out for is how is it vented. Ignore how this looks too. I abused the living crap out of my stuff. This one's got a crap ton of mesh. You think that this would be bad in the winter or in colder climates, but there's a nice thermal barrier. The other thing to look out for is how is it vented to be outside. This whole flap right here at the top, this is one of the reasons I bought it, was the top of this vent. This vents out, this opens up and it's a huge vent, which you'd think, oh, in the cold climates, you don't want that, but you want all that heat to escape because then you don't get condensation. It's just a few things to look at. I got this one because of the headroom in here. This is a 2-person tent. If you've got a bunch of gear with you, having a lot of room in the inside, and it doesn't look like that much right now because it's not staked out, but this would actually come out on both sides, pull flat. I can fit 2 sleeping bags in there, which is enough room for all my crap. It also has a gear loft that you can hang stuff in back there, and of course this ceiling is really nice and wide. You just want something that you're going to be comfortable in. I found that a 1-person tent was too small for my taste, but your mileage may vary. You might like something a little bit more compact. You might even go for like a bivvy style tent where it's just enough for you to sleep in. Like I said, you can go pretty cheap, however much you are willing to spend. Just make sure that it's going to suit your needs. I will say, buying cheaper camping equipment is good for a couple of times, but yeah, you may save like 50 bucks, but if the better of the products is 50 bucks more, it's gonna last you at the very least twice as long. Having to replace a $150 tent every 2 to 3 months versus I've had this thing now for 2 years and do not treat it kindly. Spend your money how you want, just make sure you don't cut corners where you need to. So you got your tent set up, you need something to sleep on. You'll hear sleep system quite often. There are several things to consider here. One is the R value. You're going to see that number thrown around a lot, and all that is thermal barriers, thermal insulation, something like an R3, R2. Fun fact about the R values, they are additive. So if you've got an R3 sleeping pad with an R4 sleeping bag, we've got R7 worth of it. But it doesn't mean much. The more that higher that number, the better you are thermally insulated from your surroundings. Now the other thing that you'll see is a rating versus the degrees, right? You'll see a 30-degree bag, a 20-degree bag. Here's where it gets murky. The R value is consistent. The rating, rating in degrees is not consistent. There is no standard of what they display or how they measure it. So you'll often see bags that say, like, this is a 30-degree bag. This is a 30-degree bag from Amazon. It's not fun at 30 degrees. I can tell you that much right now. So there are a couple of metrics for this rating. There is like your comfort rating, your survival rating. Those are the 2 most important. This is a 30-degree survival, not comfort. I'd say it's a 40 to 50, 45 degree comfort. Anything below that, you start feeling it. You have to bundle up and add layers and stuff like that. Most reputable brands will put what metric they are measuring in the description of their product. If you don't see that, I would steer clear of that item, even if it's like the Amazon special. I bought this because it was super cheap and I needed something quickly. Now, there's a couple ways to sleep when you're camping. Sleeping pads, cots, things like that. There's inflatable sleeping pads. There's self-inflating sleeping pads, memory foam. I prefer inflatable because they generally pack down smaller. This right here is just an Amazon special. I had to replace one that got busted at a camping trip. And this again was just cheap. So far, it's been pretty good though. I did this cot off camera because it's I don't get much real estate out here. Now, what I do is a little overkill. You could do just the cot. You could do just the sleeping pad. I find it more comfortable for me to do both. I'm a side sleeper and a stomach sleeper, so this is nice. The important thing to consider when you're buying a sleeping system of some sort is the width of it and the thickness of it. It has to fit inside your tent, but you also don't want to roll off on it. And you also want enough cushion that it's comfortable no matter how you sleep. I just find personally, I took this out when we did the South Dakota trip, these two things in combination are amazing for me. I like the cot, it's a lot more comfortable, but it just wasn't enough cushion, so that I could probably stand to get something smaller and maybe like a tightly packed memory foam topper for it, and this would be enough. Let's get these things inside the tent, and I'll show you how it looks all set up. Alright, so here's the fun part for me. I just like sleeping pads. Sleeping bags have those ratings that I was talking about earlier. So again, due diligence, look up and see if they tell you if it's comfort rating or survivability rating. And again, if they don't tell you, steer clear. Just personal experience. Again, another Amazon special here. Personal opinion, this is all to taste, right? Sleeping bags come in several different types. There's like quilts that zip up. There's mummy style, which is like really form-fitting. That's not comfortable for me. I like rectangular bags, big, huge rectangular bags so I can move around in it and I don't feel claustrophobic. It's one thing that I usually tell people to get when you get a sleeping bag, and that is a liner. One, it can add or remove heat as needed. And two, it protects the inside of your sleeping bag from your body walls and stuff. They're pretty cheap. They just go on you like a sleeping bag and then inside the sleeping bag. And the last thing for your sleep system, hello, somewhere to rest your head. Now that has a pillow built into it, that sleeping pad, but I generally, more comfort, more better, and I went memory foam. It's one of those little pillows you can bring with you on flights. But what do we do when we're not sleeping? Sit around camp. Let's talk about comfort items. I'm not going to say that these are, like some people classify this as luxury items. I think they're comfort. I think they're very important for a good camping experience. There are two things that I would categorize as comfort: somewhere to sit and somehow to eat. And that things that you have to do to go camping, but to make it a more comfortable camping experience. I will say this, bringing a chair is almost necessary. I went camping without a chair. It was not fun trying to find places to sit. Thankfully, camping chairs are pretty light and small. This is just one from REI. You're gonna hold a decent amount of weight. You can go all out on these things, but this one is enough for me. Just to sit comfortably. I'd say in the comfort area, one of the luxury items is a small table. I have one. I took it out of my pack. Pro tip, when you go camping for the first time, bring all your gear, as much as you want. And then when you get back from that trip, go through your kit, put aside all the things that you use all the time, tent, all that jazz. And then make a pile for stuff that you used some of the time, and then a pile for some of the stuff you didn't touch. Next time you go camping, leave that pile of things you didn't touch out of it. The other thing that falls under the comfort category is cooking equipment. I have two things. This is my jet boil system. If I bring myself like dehydrated food and coffee and stuff, this is also a French press as well. And everything you need is inside of this thing. You put your gas on it, you can boil water in here, and that can be used for coffee or rehydrating food. This is the bare minimal that I'll take with me, because everything fits in this nice little thing. There's a bunch of different systems that you could pick up. Having a meal while you're camping, like a hot meal, is actually a huge boost to your morale. It makes it a lot nicer if we're going somewhere a little bit longer, or if I'm just feeling froggy. I have this thing. This kit comes from Motocamping, not affiliated with them, but I bought this because I wanted all of the different things that were in here, and they have a really great system with bundles and stuff. He's a nice dude. It's a small business, and he's a reseller, and he basically curates these items specifically for motorcycle camping. And you can get a kit right here that's got everything you need to do a little cooking, including a gallon of to hold water, utensils, cleaning supplies. Also includes, if you don't want to get the jet oil system, which that's perfectly fine, they also include in there a little piezo lit canister. You can just get those fuel cans, hook it to this, and it has the little stand for a pan. And then collapsible eating systems, cutting boards with a plate. Everything collapses. This is my little coffee mug. So includes a little pan, pots, pans. This one you can cook on. And it all collapses in this little 4-liter carry tote. Look, at the end of the day, people are gonna tell you lots of things about what to buy, what not to buy. It pretty much all works. Some of it better than others, of course. If you spend money, this tent cost me $600, but I've been putting it through hell, and it is still kicking. Meanwhile, I've gone through like 3 or 4 sleeping pads. So, you got to make up your own mind. But if you use these tools, you can kind of narrow down, like, what are you wanting to do with camping? You want to go in full comfort, you can go out there and get the thickest, widest, softest of the sleeping systems. You can get the biggest tent. It's whatever you're comfortable carrying as well. Don't listen to the keyboard warriors who are telling you, like, you carry too much weight, you're going to upset the blah, 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 you're going to crack your subframe. These bikes are meant to go places. Most bikes are meant to carry 1 or 2 people. If you're carrying over 180, 200 pounds worth of gear, you got other problems. All together in my little Triumph bag, all my stuff weighs like 30, 35 pounds. I'm not really concerned about it, and you shouldn't be either. The point is, you want to be comfortable, you want to bring the things that you want to make this a good time. As most things in adult life, if you enjoy it, you're more than likely to do it again. So, you need something to sleep under, sleep in, sleep on, sit on, and eat. Those are things they should start with. Of course, you're free to do whatever the hell you want and get all the stuff that you absolutely want. Or you literally take a sleeping pad and a little bivvy tent, style tent. Doesn't matter. Just find the stuff that makes it comfortable for you and enjoyable, so you'll be more likely to do it again. Like I said, there's no links down below for any of the products that I use. This isn't a, hey, buy these things in order to start motocamping. But like I said earlier, if you want to do all the cool YouTube stuff, that'd be much appreciated. Until then, be safe, be kind. We'll see you next time.